Well, being that Longcat seems to be lagging a bit, I thought I would do an add-on. Since you brought up Plato, that would be a good idea maybe to get back to the basics of what government's function is and why it's necessary. I think the easiest way to look at it is it's dispute resolution. That human beings obviously have self-interest, and they have to negotiate through life, trying to not step on each other's toes, kind of thing, get in each other's way, try to create fences or borders that are respectable, and that you have some sort of umpires to play the game. Lots of ways to metaphor it, but we can foul each other, or foul the environment, or foul some aspect necessary to somebody else's comfort. And the function of government is basically to mitigate against that. In a broader sense, when we become groups of people, societies, ambitions, the society itself almost becomes a human being, almost becomes a person, in the sense that it has ambitions as a society. And then societies have to negotiate, but that's intergovernmental kind of stuff, so that's a little bit different. But from within, the individuals in a society can hope for something out of society. They can hope for efficiencies, and to prevent waste and harms, and so all those kind of ambitions would be built into contracts, basically. So you're basically contracting, making a deal with each other regarding how what the rules are going to be, and establishing some sort of mechanism, people usually, unfortunately, who will be the enforcers, the judges and the jury and the executioner, to enforce your part of the contract, your rights. And that's basically all there is. There's just the negotiation, and so the ideal system, is one that finds a way to gain the most efficiencies. The truth is that the needs of the one do not outweigh the needs of the many in most cases, except maybe torture. There's imposing harms on single individuals for some sort of gang benefit, like a gang rape or something, obviously can't be endorsed, and the inverse of perhaps inconveniencing a few for the benefit of many, denying a benefit to the few for the benefit of many. It gets a little complicated in terms of how to balance the interests, and especially when the interests are so very different, harm versus actualized ambition. Many ambitions are not necessary. They're ambitions of circumstance. They're not ambitions that are automatically respectable, are fundamental. And the same could be said of liberties, and so that's where it does get somewhat complicated when you start denying one person's basic rights, basic comfort, compromising it, to actualize what are maybe even frivolous ambitions. So anyway, but it's all really just a contract and just figuring out a way to resolve disputes. And unfortunately, we can't go to some better umpire. We have to make the umpire out of people, and we have to make the system of accountability within that structure. So I certainly think it can be done by imposing accountability, by making everything open as possible regarding the activities and actions of the authorities. The authorities should be held to the highest standard, not the lowest standard. They should be given no respect unearned, no presumption of innocence. The presumption has to be the inverse. It has to be you can't even have the appearance of guilt, and I think that's the standard's got to be imposed. They've got to be better than us, not lessers, clearly. and if they're not up to that scrutiny, and they don't want those standards applied, then they shouldn't apply for the job. If you can't take the heat, don't get into that kitchen. But yes, they're servants to the social good, and if that's not who they're serving, they shouldn't have the job, kind of thing. And we have sort of the inverse. We have these horrible, lying, self-interested shysters that have infected government and slandered it, made it look bad, and that's really unfortunate, because reconstructing the image of what government could be is pretty hard to do when the blood is still on the club that government has abused, because we put it in the wrong hands, put power in the wrong hands. So anyway, yeah, it's a little add-on, and see you all next time and such.